13th, 2021. I'm in front of the schoolyard. Some of the kids were playing kickball. I'm facing the opposite direction. Before I left the house, there was a mention. Lewis and Linda came home. They were watching the news media. Lewis likes to watch a program by a network by the name of CNN. So he put that on, and it made mention on broadcast today of Havana syndrome, Havana, which is spelled have, and then Na, which is usually a sodium or a table salt issue. He says, what on earth is Havana syndrome? And so I was in my bedroom, I come running out, and I said, actually, Lewis, it's what I was hit with when I was in the hospital in 2016-2017 time frame. I said it's when they use high power, it's a targeted biological attack where they use high power microwave frequency or magnetics or some kind of impulse wave that interferes with your brain wave. It's almost like a walking stroke. You're walking, you're fine, there's no vascular obstruction in your brain or whatnot. It's coming from the outside as a pattern that your brain naturally frequencies with, but it's blocked by some reason. I said, and then they showed a map, and it was mostly Russia. A little part of India, Poland was mentioned in the CNN broadcast, that U.S. officials in those areas were being affected, and they were shaded in red. Now, I've been affected in the U.S., in New York, in North America, without traveling. So Lewis is like, oh, he's like, you're, and then I went through the exact algorithm of why it was so important. So he's like, oh, you're so horrible, like me, like as a person. I'm like, yeah, right, okay, whatever. I know reality's too much for you. So I walked away, and so then he looked it up on his phone. Sure enough, and he's like, oh, but it says speculation. I was like, you don't even know what speculation means. It's so painful being around here. That means that they knew it was going to happen before it actually happened, because it was in this speculation of like anticipation of, and they let it happen anyway, which is even more serious of a crime, Lou. And he was just like I just render him speechless. He just doesn't know what to say. So then he says, well, why would these people be attacked? I go, I don't know, Lou. It's also like I wouldn't purposely make vaccines and viral outcomes and hold people under threat of genetic mutations and manipulation and molestation. But again, there are people out there that do these sorts of things. So Havana syndrome, now Lou this is the second time it's been brought up. Today's also the same day Blue Origins went into orbit with Star Trek guy, whatever his name is. I had it. Again, this is one of the symptoms. It's, he's not Neil Armstrong. That's the real astronaut guy that perforated the orbit and made wiffle ball problems. William Shatner. He did not perforate the orbital envelope. He's a different set of arguments and postulates, for which I just find him like a figurine or like a figurehead, like the statue of David. Like, who's going to get mad at David? But like the scenario surrounding David getting hurt, you would get mad at. Especially when it's earthly related and it affects all anatomy or a large population. This is the noise pollution in the local area where my son goes to school during the day, or is held in school during the day, where they learn nothing. Alright, so that happened with Linda and Lou. And then Linda comes back at me. She said something. It's on the Fly on the Wall program of like inside television, like I could think that they call it ATV, whatever, for this one particular moment, because she came back at me with something so typical human, and I looked at her and I'm like, listen, I know that's your general response because you've been programmed as a baby boomer to believe that, and you've been brainwashed. I get that. It doesn't make Havana syndrome disappear, and the fact that the real danger does exist out there, and that I was purposely targeted through speculation and speculum. They anticipated it and they let it happen anyway. That's a bigger problem, and I don't know who to go to for help, considering that neither one of my parental units is qualified. I'm star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cattaruzza. It's October 13th, 2021. And this is Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. It's Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxies, Broken. And on my way, I made mention by signal before I crossed the street by NYPD 111th Precinct. There was one officer in uniform outside, and there was a pedestrian or civilian or whatever the hell you call the regular public there. And so when I went by, I said, I know you're on the job and you weren't home watching television all day, but I'm just letting you know, William Shatner, oh my God, he made it. Blue Origin's to, like, I'm sure, to orbit. I was like, I bet you'll hear about it later on the news. And I just took off. So there you go, looped him in, kept the uniformed official in the process. And now I'm just headed over to do the afternoon park thing with my whatever. Star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cattaruzza.